Hey everyone, it's Leanne with Paper Heart Scissors, and I wanted to do a March, an Easter set of Easter cards using the Simon Says Stamp March card kit and some new watercolors that I got from Prima. I bought the Tropical set, which you can see there on the right, and it has a lot of what you would expect are tropical colors, and I did watercolor backgrounds for these cards. That is Ranger Distress watercolor paper, and you don't really even have to tape it down for this because I know that I'm going to mount it on foam, but I'll show you how flexible it is anyway. So I wet this piece down, and I'm then just taking a bunch of orange and going in and overlaying it. I wanted the colors to be really bright and happy and Eastery. And then went in with the magenta, so just the magenta, the orange, and the yellow. I made a panel actually with some of the greens and the blues mixed together as well, which you'll see in another card at the end. And then I really literally just set that aside to dry and went ahead and used the red pigment that was in the brush, and just kept adding more. I really loved, I wanted a more pink, bright red. I was thinking actually of almost like the colors of spring tulips, like really red, pink, and orange, and bright yellows like the Peeps. And I love that idea, but then I also did the variation in the blues and greens, as you'll see. So I did these, and then you can see, it's pretty wet. There's a lot. The paper is, I'm holding it down, so that's one thing. And it is kind of curving upwards a little bit, but it dries and it flattens out, and you'll see that you can actually be pretty heavy-handed with, kind of bending it back to where you want it to go. So I tilted those a little bit. I'm going to let them dry naturally. I put them off to the side, and I cut a couple pieces of vellum with a pretty pink posh banner die, and I'm going to emboss those. I'm using the embossing tool to prepare them because vellum does like to, it's staticky and it will hold on to embossing powder. And I'm using the large sentiment from the set, um, that says sending peepable hugs, I think. Yeah, I'll read it to you in a minute. Anyway, and I'm going to actually show you how I emboss vellum because I do pretty well with not warping it. I let it really heat up, and I test it on my hand, and then I pass it over the embossing powder really quickly, and you can see how fast that white Hero Arts embossing powder sets up. And you can see that one of them is a little bit warped, but vellum is also really tough, as the watercolor paper is. You can really bend this back, and while it's still warm, if you just roll it and flatten it out, it will totally be perfect. So I'm actually going to stamp with the Peeps in 3 different colors on the back side of those embossed pieces. And I'm going to use a Ranger, that bright yellow, I think it's called Lemon Twist, and the other one is, I think it's called Cheeto of all things. And then I've got Simon Says Stamp Doll Pink. And I'm just taking the middle size Peep and stamping him in a little collage on each one. And you can see that I have a baby wipe over to the right hand side, and I'm going from the lightest to the darkest color, and so I don't have to clean my stamp with cleaner and do a lot of work in between. I keep that baby white there, and as long as you go from the light to the dark, you really don't have to worry about contamination. You'll see me go over to the side and just stamp off the extra ink. And then I use the little, there's 3 little dots that are meant to be in the stamp set, another eyes and nose, but I wanted to use them in the background just to kind of fill in. one warning, you see a mistake there on the right hand banner. I smudged the ink with my finger. When you are stamping on vellum with dye ink, you do need to give it a little bit of extra time to dry. So I stuck my finger in it, and you can kind of see that, but I'm going to show you, I came up with a fix for it anyway. I'm going to put a little Peep over that, and so I watercolored another one and die cut them out. And then you emboss them with white embossing powder as well. So I trimmed down these watercolors, and you can see that they've dried really nicely, and they're actually not even that warped. So they're going to be fine on the card. I did take one of them and I ran it through an embossing folder, and then I wasn't happy with the little white corners on the one, so I'm just going to take a little bit more of the Tropicals Prima, the new watercolors, and I love that magenta. I was really after a bright, bright magenta, a bright, bright green with this set, and a beautiful yellow. And I have a lot of other watercolors, but it's really nice to have these colors just ready to go. And you can see they layer beautifully. They're more transparent than the Gonzai Tombe, the big set. They actually are not as creamy in appearance, but I find the Gonzai Tombes to be very more opaque and more milky, I want to say. So everything is great for different kinds of projects, but I really like the layering that you can get with these. And there's the green panel that I made as well, and you can see how pretty that is with the bright green and the turquoise teal colors. And I'm showing you, I'm being kind of rough with it. You could say I ran it through an embossing folder to get that kind of basket weave on it. I also thought that was really Eastery. And I'll list all the supplies that I used below the video, but I am putting some foam that's pretty, the Distress watercolor cardstock, you could use fun foam on the back, but I find that it's pretty sturdy actually in the mail, as long as you back it up with something in the middle. I haven't had really too many problems with that, and I've seen some of the cards that I've sent, and people don't seem to think that they're getting damaged. I took a white Signo gel pen, and there is white stitching around the edge of that die, but I wanted to amp it up a little bit, and so I just went around the edges and just kind of followed the serrated edge there and went in between that, so now it really has a defined kind of white dotted banner going all the way around the edge of it. And the other good thing about that is I am actually going to adhere these with clear, transparent tape runner, and I'm going to be able to, I'm going to hide the tape runner behind that white line, and obviously you're not going to be able to see it behind the text. And I put a couple of little dots on the bottom, and I just put teeny little pieces there, and you really cannot see it at all because it's laying against that textured background. So I put a piece of twine behind my base panel, and I'm tying that on. And there's my little watercolored Peep. I used that same magenta, but just kept it more simple. And I'm going to raise him up with a piece of fun foam. And I also put some Wink of Stella on the little bunnies on the front of the card. So I'm going to take a Copic marker, and you could just choose a coordinating color, an orange or a pink, and I'm actually going to, I colored one of those Recollections gems, and I'm just using a little glossy accents to tack that down on top of the twine that I used tied together. I'm going to pump it up a little bit more. I touched it, and so I wrecked it, of course. And then you can see this is just a tip. If you lay your string out first, and then you just paste your back panel on top of the string, it will hold it perfectly in place. So there's the 4 cards for today. I embellished them all a little bit differently. Some I embossed the backgrounds, other two I didn't. It's totally up to you. You can have fun. You could do flowers or dots or another kind of basket pattern or nothing at all. I did add a bunch of sequins from the kits to a couple that didn't have the bunnies. And then I just did a range of things. I was really having fun with these watercolor backgrounds. And those are the spring cards from the Simon Says Stamp March card kit. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you got inspired, and you'll visit me again on my blog. And for other videos, see my channel. Let YouTube know that you like it and subscribe. Bye-bye.